Cold wind howls through the jagged canyon. A flickering fire casts long, distorted shadows against the limestone cave wall. Kale grips a splintered bone spear, his knuckles white from the tension. Sparks dance upward, disappearing into the pitch-black ceiling. The tribe huddles together, their adult faces marked by exhaustion and hunger. Blood from a recent, failed hunt stains the dried earth. No one speaks, the silence heavy with impending starvation. Outside, the frozen tundra stretches endlessly under a pale, unforgiving moon. A lone wolf howls in the distance, echoing the tribe's despair. Kale's eyes dart toward the back of the cave, away from the warmth. He slowly releases his grip on the weapon, letting it slide to the dust. A charred branch collapses in the fire pit, sending up a sudden cloud of gray smoke. He remembers the hidden valley he found at sunrise. Lush, untouched foliage hidden behind a waterfall of melting ice. A massive elk, completely unaware, grazing near the crystal-clear water. The memory flashes in his mind like a strike of lightning. He looks at the elder, a scarred man shivering beneath a thin pelt. Water drips rhythmically from a stalactite, hitting a hollow stone. Survival dictates that the hunter shares the spoils with the pack. But the hunger in Kale's gut twists into something darker, something new. He slowly raises his hand, pointing toward the desolate northern ridge. A gust of wind blows snow into the cave entrance, briefly blinding the group. Kale traces a fake path in the dirt with a broken twig. He mimics the shape of a migrating herd, pointing away from his secret valley. The firelight catches a fleeting twitch in his jaw. It is a moment of profound, invisible rebellion against natural law. A bead of sweat rolls down his temple despite the freezing air. The elder nods slowly, trusting the false map drawn in the ash. For the first time in human history, a reality was fabricated out of thin air. The lie is born. Dawn breaks over the frozen wasteland, casting long purple shadows across the snow. The tribe begins their march toward the barren northern peaks. Heavy footsteps crunch through the thick, icy crust of the earth. Kale falls behind, clutching his leg as if struck by a sudden cramp. He watches them fade into the dense, swirling morning mist. A crow caws sharply from a dead, twisted oak tree. The moment they disappear, Kale stands perfectly upright. His fake limp vanishes, replaced by a swift, predatory stride. He turns his back on his people and sprints toward the eastern cliffs. The sun climbs higher, illuminating the treacherous, rocky terrain. Loose stones tumble down the ravine as he scrambles up the steep incline. He reaches the summit, his chest heaving with exertion. Below him lies the hidden sanctuary, vibrant green against the white world. A silver stream cuts through the center of the pristine valley. Kale descends rapidly, sliding down a slope of soft, damp earth. He enters the dense forest, completely isolated from the rest of his kind. Sunlight filters through the canopy, creating a mosaic of golden light on the forest floor. A strange sense of isolation washes over him, cold and thrilling. He is entirely alone with a secret that only exists in his mind. A large beetle crawls slowly across a moss-covered log. Kale moves silently through the ferns, his eyes locked on the grazing elk. He readies his spear, feeling the rough texture of the carved wood. The air is still, holding its breath before the imminent strike. He lunges forward, his muscles coiling and releasing with brutal efficiency. The hunt is swift, silent, and entirely unseen by any other human. Dark red blood pools onto the vibrant green moss. Kale kneels beside his prize, his hands trembling slightly. Not from the adrenaline of the kill, but from the weight of his deception. He builds a small, concealed fire behind a massive boulder. Smoke curls thinly into the air, instantly scattered by the high winds. He roasts the meat, the rich aroma filling the tiny, secluded enclave. Fat drips onto the hot coals, hissing and crackling violently. He eats until he is full, a luxury unknown to his starving tribe. The warmth spreads through his veins, an intoxicating reward for his treason. A sense of godlike power begins to take root in his primitive consciousness. He didn't just bend the environment to his will, he bent the truth. He watches the embers die down, turning from bright orange to dull gray. The wind begins to howl again, signaling the approach of a harsh storm. Kale wraps a large chunk of meat in a thick hide, tying it securely. He kicks dirt over the remaining coals, erasing all evidence of his feast. The journey back to the cave is arduous and blindingly white. Snowflakes the size of ash fall horizontally, stinging his face. He finds the tribe huddled exactly where he left them, shivering and empty-handed. The elder looks up, his face gaunt, his eyes hollow with despair. Kale deliberately stumbles into the cave, mimicking total exhaustion. He drops the wrapped meat on the ground with a dramatic thud. Gasps echo through the damp cavern as the food is revealed. Firelight reflects in the desperate, wide eyes of his peers. Kale collapses against the wall, clutching his chest, breathing heavily. He points a trembling finger back toward the treacherous northern ridge. A silent narrative is communicated: he fought a beast in the frozen wastes, alone. The tribe tears into the food, their faces smeared with grease and gratitude. A jagged flint knife slices through the tough muscle of the meat. The elder places a warm, trembling hand on Kale's shoulder. It is a gesture of ultimate respect, reserved only for the greatest of heroes. Shadows dance wildly on the cave ceiling, celebrating the false victor. Kale looks at the elder's hand, then up at the trusting faces of his people. A profound realization clicks into place within the deep recesses of his brain. A physical weapon can kill an animal, but a fabricated story can control an entire tribe. Water droplets continue their slow, rhythmic descent from the stalactites. The storm outside rages with violent intensity, shaking the very foundation of the mountain. Inside, the fire burns brighter, fueled by the energy of the saved group. Kale stares deeply into the mesmerizing core of the flames. The reality he created with a simple gesture has completely replaced the truth. He is no longer just a hunter of beasts, he is an architect of minds. A spark pops out of the fire, landing harmlessly on the dirt floor. He understands now that words and gestures are more powerful than any spear. They can hide food, they can steal valor, they can guarantee survival. The tribe sleeps soundly, their bellies full for the first time in weeks. The rhythmic breathing of the group fills the cavern, a choir of the deceived. Kale remains awake, watching the shadows stretch and shrink. His mind is racing, forging new neural pathways of manipulation and strategy. He imagines future hunts, future enemies, future stories. The dawn begins to break outside, turning the snow a pale, ghostly blue. He touches the carved wooden amulet hanging around his neck. The world has irrevocably changed overnight, though no one else knows it yet. The invisible barrier between absolute truth and human intention has been shattered. An icy breeze sweeps through the entrance, rattling the dry bones from past meals. Kale stands up slowly, moving without his previous fake limp. He walks to the edge of the cave, looking out over the vast, uncaring wilderness. The rising sun paints the clouds in violent strokes of crimson and gold. He is the first man to look at the world and decide not to reflect it honestly. A solitary hawk circles high above the canyon, riding the morning thermals. The silence of the dawn feels heavier now, loaded with hidden meanings. Evolution has handed Homo sapiens its most dangerous and beautiful tool. Kale smiles, a subtle, chilling curve of his lips that no one sees. The wind erases his footprints at the cave entrance, burying the past. The era of pure, brutal honesty is officially extinct. A new age dawns, built on the shifting sands of human fiction. The first lie has been told, and the universe will never be the same.